already? You are 47 now. I want to start the class. Today we are going to start another chapter that is on digestive system. Have you studied digestive system in anatomy? Has it been covered?
No, ma'am.
No? No or yes?
No, ma'am.
No. Okay. So we will study in respect of the very much details of the anatomical structures. You will be studying in detail, but since you have not studied the anatomy part, I have to go a little bit in detail, okay, related to the anatomy also. So today's class is on the digestive system. Okay. So as we understand by the digestive system, the digestive system starts from the leaves, and it ends at the anus. Okay. Then this, as per the digestive system consists of the digestive tract and the glands located outside of the digestive system, outside of the digestive tract, whose secretions are poured continuously to the digestive tract. Okay, I'll just give you some introductory points, and then we will start the actual class. Okay, so these points you are familiar that the digestive system consists of the digestive tract, that we also call it as an alimentary canal, and several other glands which are located just outside of the digestive tract. And what do these glands do? They pour their secretions directly onto the alimentary canal. Okay, then broadly, okay, let me share the slides. Okay, so depending on the type of the organs, okay, mainly depending on the, say, broadly, depending on the structure or depending on the nature of the stomach, these animals are depending on the structure of the digestive system. Okay, particularly the stomach, the animals have been grouped as ruminants and non-ruminants. So you understand who are the ruminants? Do you understand
Yes,
who are the ruminants?
Yes, ma'am.
Who are the ruminants? What do you understand?
Who have 4 stomachs.
Again, tell again. Who are the animals, or who are these ruminants?
Ma'am, those who have 4 chambers of stomachs.
Truly, in true sense, these are the group of animals who has the habit of rumination. Okay. If you are asked who are the ruminants, then we have to say that these are the group of animals who has the habit of rumination. Okay. And what is that rumination? Rumination means the process of rechewing the already swallowed food materials. Okay. The process of rechewing of already swallowed food materials is called rumination, and the animals who has the habit of rumination are called ruminants. Is it okay? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, you have to answer like this. If you are asked who are ruminants, then these ruminants, these are the animals who have the habit of rumination. Rumination means the process of re-chewing already swallowed food materials. Okay, so this group of animals, they have been divided into ruminants and non-ruminants based on their digestive system. Okay, so what they do, those ruminants, those animals, digestive system have, okay, the ruminants, they have multi-chambered stomach. Okay, while the non-ruminants, they have a single chambered stomach. So we group those ruminants as polygastric animals because their stomach has different chambers. And if we count the number of chambers, there are 4 chambers of stomach. Okay, while in case of the non-ruminants, the stomach is only 1, so they are also called as monogastric or simple stomach animals, and there is a single chamber stomach. Who are those 4 chambers of the stomach? They are rumen reticulum, omasum, and abomasum. Okay, while rumen reticulum and omasum constitute the 4 stomach, that is FORE. Okay, that is the 4 stomach. Those are the chambers just ahead of the true stomach, and the abomasum is the true stomach. Okay, while in non-ruminants, it is the stomach is the true stomach. The process of rumination has to be present if there are ruminants. Okay, while rumination is absent in the non-ruminants. Example is cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat. They are ruminants, and other animals, okay, like dog, cats, pigs, horses, they are non-ruminants. Horses, they are herbivorous, but they have single chambered stomach, so they are monogastric herbivores. They have the process of fermentation, okay, just like in ruminants, but their stomach is not chambered. They don't have the habit of rumination. Okay, their fermentative portion of the digestive tract is in the cecum. Okay, unlike in case of the ruminants, it is in the forestomach. The fermentative process. Okay, we will study in detail later on. And as per their food habit, the ruminants, they don't require high protein diet. But the non-ruminants like dogs or cats, what they do, they consume mainly the muscles or some offals, or say like their food contains high amount of protein and high amount of energy. But in case of the ruminants, the food contains very less amount of digestible energy and a very low amount of fat. Okay, and the feed substances of the ruminants, they have very high content of fibrous materials which cannot be easily digested. They can only be those fibrous materials. They are called the cellulose, they can only be digested by the certain microbes which are present in the forestomach, that is rumen, reticulum and omesum. Okay, and after the digestion, the ruminants, they produce volatile fatty acids as the byproducts of fermentation, and these volatile fatty acids, these are the main source of energy. But in case of the ruminants, after the digestion, the glucose is the product of the digestion, and this is the main source of energy. Okay, again, there is another group of animals in whom the omesum is either absent or developed very less. They are not properly developed. Those animals are called pseudo ruminants. Okay, those pseudo ruminants means in them the omesum is either absent or present but very small. Okay, they are like camels, llama and alpaca. Okay, they come under the pseudo ruminants. In those pseudo ruminants, the omesum is very small or they are absent. Okay, they have the process of rumination, but due to the absence of the omesum, due to the absence of all the four chambers, due to the absence of one chamber or very less development of the omesum, they are termed as pseudo ruminants. Is it clear up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what you have to understand here is we group the animals depending on the digestive tract. They are depending on the digestive ability into ruminants and the non-ruminants. The ruminants are polygastric animal. Their stomach is multi-chambered, while the non-ruminants are monogastric animals. The multi-chambered stomachs, they are the rumen, reticulum, omesum. They form the forestomach, and abomesum is the true stomach. And rumination is to be present in the ruminants. Okay, and the ruminants, they do not require high protein diet, but they can digest highly fibrous food which are low in fat, low in digestible energy, low in protein. Okay, and after digestion, they have byproducts of fermentation as volatile fatty acids, and which are the main source of energy. Okay, and as the non-ruminants, they require high protein diet and they consume high energy, high protein containing diets. They are easily digested in their digestive tract. While in case of the ruminants, since the diet is not easily digestible, they are fibrous in nature, they take longer time. Okay, so because of that, what happens, the digestive tract, okay, the digestive tract in case of the ruminants is much longer as compared to the digestive tract of the monogastric animals, because in them the diet contains high energy, high protein, easily digestible food. Okay, so the digestive tract is comparatively longer in the ruminants as compared to that of the monogastric animals. Okay, again, if we see into the different portions, okay, so as we see
Excuse me,
into
ma'am.
the, yes,
And some students are trying to join.
huh?
And some are trying to join, ma'am.
Is it done now? Sir?
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so if we see into the different portions of the stomach in different species of the animals, this picture is somewhat not very clear. Actually, in this figure, what I wanted to show is that if we see onto the different surfaces, okay, onto the walls of the stomach of different species of animals, their stomach wall is different, is having different types of the cells scattered on different areas of the stomach. Okay, so this is for the human being, this is for the dog, for pig, and for horse. Okay, for rat, cow, and llama. Llama is indicating the pseudo ruminant category here. Okay, so in case of the horse, okay, in case of the horse stomach, if we see, horse stomach is having large portion of esophageal portion of the stomach, while this esophageal portion of the stomach is very less in other species of the animals. Particularly in the horse and the rat, the esophageal portion of the stomach is large. Okay, again, then next portion is the true stomach portion. Okay, the stomach portion, and which is having different portions. Okay, so that is the cardia, the fundus, and the pylorus. Okay, so different portions of the stomach. Okay, so also before that, what I want to show here is that if we see the stomach wall of the ruminants and the stomach wall of a non-ruminant, or you see here for pig and for dog. So the stomach wall of the pig, of the dog, and this the stomach wall of the cow as a whole. Okay, so here this is a single stomach, true stomach, and these are the four stomachs. Okay, the four stomachs, that means the rumen, reticulum, and omasum, and this is the abomasum part, that is the true stomach part. The rumen, reticulum, and omasum, they are lined by stratified squamous epithelial cells. Okay, in case of the ruminants. But in case of the dogs, the portion which is lined by stratified squamous non-glandular portion is not there here. Okay, instead there is small portion of the cardia here, small portion of the cardia in human, just like dogs. In pig, there is large portion of cardiac portion, which is that mainly the not very what to say, this portion is mainly for storage of the food. Okay, but in case of the horse, there is a big portion of the esophageal portion and small portion of the cardiac. There is demarcation between these and these. Okay, though it is not clearly visible in this figure, but in case of the ruminants, this big portion is occupied by stratified squamous epithelial cells, and these portions, they are non-glandular. Non-glandular, do you understand? That means they don't have any glandular secretion. Okay, while in case of the llama, it is located over here. Okay, these are all scattered over here like this. So I'll come to this part again. What I mean to say, what I want to tell you is that the different portions of the digestive tract are different in the ruminants and non-ruminants. Okay, so to start, each of the different parts of the stomach, so it starts from the leaves and continues as the pharynx, and then it continues as the stomach. Okay, so in the mouth there are presence the buccal, in and around the buccal cavity there are presence of a numbers of salivary glands. The salivary glands will be pouring their secretion onto the buccal cavity. Okay, so when the food is going into the mouth through prehension, the food will get mixed with the saliva coming from the salivary glands. Here, the main function of the saliva is to mix up with the food in the mouth cavity, and while chewing, the saliva will give a coat on the food substances, and also it will moisten the chewed food substances. The digestion partially starts and in the mouth cavity. Okay, so the saliva secretion will continue as long as the animal keeps chewing. Okay, as and when the food is present in the mouth cavity, the food will give certain sensation. There will be sensors present on all and around of the buccal cavity that is going to stimulate the salivary secretion. Okay, in case of the non-ruminants, the time for chewing is less. But in case of the ruminant animals, what they do, they take the food in, they swallow and keep the food materials in the rumen, okay, and that food is again taken out into the mouth cavity and re-chew them. Okay, that process is called rumination. So as long as there is chewing process continuing, there will be continuous secretion of saliva from the salivary gland. So ruminants spend large amount of their time in rumination. So as the rumination continues, the salivary secretion will also continue. So there will be a large volume of saliva secretion in a day. Where that saliva will go, that saliva will mix up with the food substances and that will be re-swallowed in the ruminant animals. So there will be a bulky stomach in the ruminants. Then, okay, then after the pharynx, the alimentary canal will continue as the esophagus. So there will be an opening between the pharynx and the esophagus. That opening is called the upper esophageal sphincter. And that sphincter remains constricted. Okay? Only when there will be swallowing, that time this sphincter will open to allow the food to pass from the buccal cavity to the esophagus. Okay, the esophagus is a muscular wall tube-like structure, also called it is the food pipe, and and it will continue and open into the stomach. Okay, so it will directly open to the stomach in the non-ruminant animals, and it will open to the rumen in the ruminants. Okay, here again at the opening of the esophagus to the stomach, there is presence of a sphincter. That means that is going to work as a valve to open or constricted, to close, and that opening is called the lower esophageal sphincter, and again this sphincter remains constricted. That means always it does not allow the passage of the food. Only when there is opening here and the food is passing through the esophagus, then it has to pass to the stomach. At that time it will open. Okay, then it will be reaching to the stomach, and the stomach is having different parts. Okay, so in case of the ruminants, the food pipe, the esophagus, will open into the rumen. Okay, rumen, then it will continue as rumen, reticulum, and omasum, and it will continue as omasum. And in the simple stomach, it will continue as it will open to the stomach through the lower esophageal sphincter. Then in case of the horse, there will be presence of large amount of the esophageal portion in the stomach. Okay, otherwise in other animals the stomach will continue, and the stomach will be having four parts. That is the cardia, fundus, corpus, and the pylorus. So in case of the pigs, the cardia portion of the stomach is very, very large, and it maintains as a storage area in the stomach for food. Okay, while and also this cardia portion is less, it is not having much of the secretory glands. Then it continues as the fundus and the corpus. The fundus and the corpus, sometimes we call it as a body of the stomach. They are having mainly the glandular cells on the stomach wall. Okay, then so this picture I have shown you that then it will continue as from the stomach, it will continue as the intestine, and as we see, the length of the digestive tract is much shorter in monogastric animals as compared to the polygastric animals. Why? Because the food consumed by the monogastric animals, they are simple, they are rich in the protein, rich in the energy, and they are easily digestible. While in case of the ruminants, the food they consume, they are less in the fat, low in the digestible protein and the energy. Okay, but they can only be digested by the microbes which are present in the four stomachs, in the rumen, reticulum, and omasum, and they convert into a digestible energy. Okay, because of that, they need a long way for the digestion. Okay, is it okay up to this?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, it is very simple. You must be knowing from before also, but you have to know little bit more about the ruminant animals. Okay, so if I have left anything, let me check. Okay, so this one, this figure, it shows that in the ruminant animals, the portion of the stomach, large amount of the portions of the stomach is occupied by non-glandular areas. Okay, while in case of the non-ruminants, large area of glandular part of the stomach is present. Okay, this you understand. Okay, and in case of the horse, there is presence of the non-glandular portion in the stomach, but that non-glandular portion is not actually the part of the stomach that is called the esophageal part of the stomach. Okay, and that is in case of the horse and also in the rats. Okay, and in pigs, the glandular portion, okay, the glandular portion is again having 4 parts, that is the cardia, the initial portion, that is the least in the glandular secretion, that is very big in pigs, and it helps in the storage. It helps in the storage of the food materials. Okay, then comes the glandular portion, mainly that is the fundus, corpus, and the pylorus. Okay, the other 3 remaining portions. Okay, then chemicals. Let me show this figure. Okay, so if you see here, this is the cross section. Okay, cross section of the ruminant stomach. Okay, so this is opening into the rumen. This is the reticulum and omasum and the epimasum. Okay, so here you see this is showing the something like honeycomb like structure over here. Can you see? So this is showing the honeycomb-like structure of the reticulum. Okay, while the rumen will be having the fine papillae, fine projections, number of the papillary projections. Okay, so those papillary structures and all you will see in the anatomy when you have the spleninology classes. You will see yourself. Okay. At that time you will understand, but here what we see here again, these are the different chambers of the stomach. They are connected by different folds here. Okay? Different types of the folds. That means there will be folds here, and all these folds will be making different chambers inside. Okay, let me see if I have those longitudinal folds. No, I don't have that folds and all you will see, okay, in the anatomical classes. So what they do, they have like different folds that extends from side to side and front to back. So during the contraction of the stomach, the different folds, these transverse folds and the longitudinal folds, they will contract, and that will allow the contraction of the stomach, the whole of the stomach. That means mainly the whole of the 4 stomachs. Okay, that means and the maximum of the space is occupied by the rumen, and that will help in the contraction of the rumen. So what I said, due to the spending of large amount of time in chewing, in rumination, there will be continuous addition of the food materials mixed with saliva into this rumen. Okay, so this rumen will be having large amount of fibrous food materials mixed with saliva. Okay, so large volume of the saliva will be poured continuously. What will happen? So those feed materials, they may stay only in one position. Okay, but it needs to be mixed from this position to this, or from this position to this. For that, there has to be continuous mixing of these contents inside the rumen, and that mixing will be possible through the contraction of the rumen. That means the rumen will contract from side to side, means from front to back, and it from side to side, okay, from left to side, right? And that contraction will be possible due to the presence of the different folds present in between the chambers. There will be presence of the longitudinal folds here. There will be presence of transverse folds from here to one side, from right to left. From there will be longitudinal folds. There will be transverse folds. So this will be the longitudinal folds. There will be this will be the transverse folds. Okay, so due to this continuous contraction from time to time, there will be mixing of the food contents from this area to this, and from this area to this, and this area to this. So in that process of the mixing, there will be mixing of different microbes present inside the rumen. So the rumen has different microbes like rumen bacteria, rumen protozoa, rumen fungi. Okay, so they will be able to access the food materials swallowed into the stomach. So continuous mixing will be there, and due to the presence of these microbes, there will be digestion of the fibrous food material, that is cellulose. That means the microbes present over here, they will be able to digest the cellulose. The bacteria which are present inside the rumen, they are of different types. Some can digest starch, some can digest cellulose. Okay, so those cellulose digesting bacteria will digest the cellulose, and those starch digesting bacteria will digest the starch into smaller particles. Okay, so that way these microbes will multiply and they will grow more and more. Okay, is it okay up to this? Okay, so there will be continuous mixing of the food materials in the rumen, and during this process, the microbes present in the rumen will be able to act onto the feed materials consisting of the starch, consisting of the cellulose, consisting of the fats, consisting of the proteins. Though the feed consumed by the ruminants, they are very low in the fat and very low in protein. Okay, so these microbes, now what they will do, the bacteria will multiply. Okay, and the protozoa will feed onto these bacteria. Okay, and these protozoa will mix with the digested feed materials, will enter into the next stage in the through stomach into the abomasum. Okay, then this abomasum is having the secretions, right? Those secretions are the, we will study in detail in the later classes, but anyway, here the stomach secretes what type of substances? The true stomach. I'm not talking about the forced stomach. The true stomach secretes what type of substances? Acid. And is there any secretion of some enzymes? What?
Bile.
Huh? What is it? Huh? Pepsinogen. Okay. So pepsinogen, the glands on the stomach wall will be secreting pepsinogen, and that will be converted to pepsin by the presence of the acid. ICL is also secreted by the glands in the stomach. The stomach glands secrete ACL and that converts the pepsinogen to pepsin. Pepsin becomes active and it will now act onto the proteins. So that will start digesting the proteins. So what are those proteins? Those are mainly the microbial proteins. The microbial proteins means the protozoa mixed with the food which has reached to the abomasum. Okay. So this cellulose digestion does not happen in the through stomach, in the simple stomach animals. Simply the food which is rich in the protein reaches the true stomach. There the protein digestion starts. Starch digestion has started in the buccal cavity, okay, in case of the omnivores. But in case of the carnivores, the starch digesting enzyme is absent. Okay, same. In case of the ruminants, the starch digesting enzyme is absent in the buccal, in the salivary secretion. Okay, so the starch digestion does not start in the carnivores and in the herbivores, mainly in the ruminants in the mouth. But the food, the digestion of the food, the microbial digestion starts in the rumen, and those microbial digestion leads to the production of the microbial proteins inside the forestomach, and that those microbial proteins reaches the abomasum, and in the abomasum there starts the digestion of the proteins. So these partially digested proteins will now reach the intestine. Okay, then by the time it reaches the intestine will be receiving a number of enzymatic secretions coming from the different other glands located in and around the intestine. So one such example is the secretion coming from the pancreas. The pancreas will be secreting a number of protein digesting enzymes, fat digesting enzymes, like carbohydrate digesting enzyme. Okay, so their secretions will be poured into the intestine, that will be mixed up. Okay, and then they will act onto their respective substrates. Say fat digesting enzyme will act onto the fats, protein digesting enzymes will act onto the protein, carbohydrate digesting enzymes will act onto the carbohydrates. Okay, then that will be further broken down into smaller products. Okay, and those smaller products will be now ready for absorption, and during that those smaller products will pass on to the intestine in a long pathway, and during their passage there will be absorption of the nutrients from the stomach walls. Okay, so this is in brief about the different portions of the digestive tract. Okay, so each step, what happens in the mouth, what happens in the esophagus, what happens in the stomach, and again in the different parts of the stomach, what happens in the intestine, and then after that what happens. That we are going to discuss in separate classes. Okay, is it okay? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
This is just one brief introductory class that how the animals are grouped into two groups as a ruminants and a non-ruminants, and what are some special distinguishing features in the digestive tract of these two groups of animals. Okay. So, shall I continue? Another 5 or 10 minutes? Yeah, it's about another 5 minutes, or shall we stop here? What do you say? Yes? No response? Okay, I'll continue, okay? Then there is a term called prehensile. Have you heard this term, prehensile?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes or no?
No, ma'am.
No. Prehensile means the act of taking in of food material to the mouth. Say, human beings, what they do? With the help of the hands, we take the food into our mouth. But what other animals they do? They either use their tongue or they use their lips, okay, or they use their beak. Say in case of the birds, they use their beak. Beak is the modified form of their tooth. Since they don't have tooth, so they use the beak. Okay, so that the action by which the food material is taken into the mouth is called prehensile. Okay, so different animals have different prehensile organ. Prehensile organ means the different organs which they use while taking in of food into the mouth cavity, to the mouth. Okay, so in case of the cattle and a buffalo, the main prehensile organ is tongue. What they do in cattle and buffalo, their tongue is very much mobile. They have a very long tongue, and their tongue is very much mobile, means it can move in many directions. What they do, they take out their mobile tongue and grabs this tongue around the grass material. Okay, and they twist the grass material and tear the grass and take into the mouth. Okay, I'm talking about here the main prehensile organ. Okay, but in case of the horse, they use teeth. They have incisors, right? Upper incisors and the lower incisors. But in case of the cattle, they don't have the upper incisor. Instead, they have the dental pale, isn't it? Okay, so what they do, they use their tongue to grasp around the grass and then they take in the food. But in case of the sheep and the goat, they use lips also. Particularly in the sheep, their palates are cleft. You understand? Cleft palate in case of the sheep. So what they do, since their palate is cleft, they can go closer to the ground, and with the help of the lips and the tongue, they can take the grasses. Okay, their prehensile organ is mainly the tongue and lips. Okay, but in horse it is teeth. In dog and the cat, what they do, they sometimes use forelimbs and they use their lips. But in pig, they use their snout. You know snout? nose and the mouth that together, okay, and the lower lip, okay. So they use their snout and the lower lip, and in case of chicken, the main prehensile organ is the beak, okay, and the means of sucking is by drinking is by sucking in case of the cattle, buffalo, sheep, goat, and also horse. But in dog and a cat, what they do, they dip their tongue, and in pig, they suck the liquids, okay. And in case of the chicken, we are concerned mainly with the chicken or say duck or that. What they do, they just fill the oral cavity with water and they raise their beak. While drinking, they raise their. They dip into the water, fill the oral cavity with water, and then they raise their head. They raise their beak. Okay. Up to prehensile. Okay. We'll do next class. We'll continue other terminologies. Is it okay? You have to remember this table. Okay. This is Collins. Okay, you have to remember this table, huh? You have to know that what I'm talking about the main prehensile organs here. Okay. You can leave.
Thank you, ma'am.
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 Thank you, ma'am.